Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the second episode of Integrated Conversations. My name is Fiu Chen, and I'm using StreamYard to stream live from Brisbane. Um, I would like to, first of all, pay my respects to the custodians of the Redland City, for which this event is being held, and the custodians of this land are the Guanamuka elders of past, present, and future. I also would like to welcome all our guests from around the world, from the US, from the UK, from New Zealand, from Australia, within Australia, from the Pacific Islands, Canada, all around the globe. Whoever's watching me or whoever will watch the replay, thank you so much for supporting me. I was thinking last week after the first show whether I should stream live on my personal page. And I thought, should I move my stream live to my YouTube channel or my business Facebook group? However, due to the numerous and the enormous support that I have received, I thought if this show help change lives or help transform lives, then I will continue to use this platform also in my personal Facebook group to help someone out there. And and I know all of last night, I sat and I did a lot of reading and stuff, but I realized that too much information on the brain, and overloaded, you get stuck and you can't move forward. So today I will talk about self-esteem. And I know that we belong to certain groups in our society. I come from the Pacific, so therefore I belong to my cultural group. I come and my family live in Australia, and I also belong to different women's groups, and we meet colleagues on the way. We work with and we form groups within the employment system and stuff. We also have religious groups that we belong to. And all in all these groups help support who we are. If life is going well, you can rest well to say that everything is going to be okay. If life puts us in turmoil, we sometimes or often find ourselves looking at ourselves. We always like to support our groups and all that, but sometimes the self is the hardest inner critic. And if we look at the self is made up of so many things. If you look at it from a holistic perspective, the self is made up of everything. Coming from collective societies, we have the self as I and the self as we. And so sometimes decision making is based on not just the self, but also the we. What I'm trying to explain today is that when it comes to just us, as me, as few, or as you as Tracy or Vicky. I'm sorry, I'm going to use my coach's name out there and my colleague's name, but we tend to, when it comes to self-critique, we tend to be the worst critic of ourselves. If we go through situations where we have fear, for example, domestic violence and all that, the physical self, you're aware of what your safety places you would go to and all that, but inside ourselves, for example, instead of praising or saying that I'm good enough, I'm telling myself, you're not good enough. Um, if I go, for example, to an interview, and I go to an interview and I know what I need to do, and I'm so not worked up, but I have so much like, I know what I needed to say. But I sit there and I get stuck because the inner critique, the negative inner critique I'm talking about, not the positive one, the negative inner critique start to play in our heads. And then we stop trusting ourselves as unique human beings, but we started to criticize ourselves. And then all these negative things go in your head. Oh, you're not gonna get through to your interview. You can't make it. You don't have what it takes to get through. So all these inner critics puts us down, and it lowers our self-esteem. And when it lowers our self-esteem, we start to lose motivation. And when we lose motivation, and when we lose motivation, we stop doing the things we love, things that can enhance the mindset. And I believe a lot of our people all around us, the mindset is something that we needed to work on. There's an element in us that we needed to get rid of, but we know how to get rid of, but we critique ourselves so much that we couldn't even tell ourselves no. How do we get rid of this inner negative self-talk? How do we build our self-esteem? Not just looking at other people, because when it comes to others, we champion them. We do everything that we want because we wanted to feel accepted. Yes, we wanted to feel accepted, yet we can't even accept, who we are, our flaws, our uniqueness, and become more than, I should say, more than the best version of us. So the best version of us is not perfect, but we can help to build our self-esteem by doing some of the strategies, things like praying help. And I know we all come from different faiths and all that. Join a prayer group if it helps you to lift your self-esteem. But the question is that you can feel good when you're around people, but when it comes to the home, this thing kicks in. As soon as we sleep, the mind is sleeping. It's either we are sleeping or we are not sleeping, because everything's going on inside this brain and inside this head. We never, if we look at our values and our beliefs, our values and our belief system shape how we see the world through our environment. You look at people who are celebrities and you said, wow, they are so good. But when it comes to you, when the attention is on you, we couldn't do it. And I'm one of them. And I am honestly saying it took courage, not just, if it takes just small steps for you to help to learn to heal yourself. And healing is an enormous substance. Like, people go through grief. People go through grief and loss, lose jobs. Um, people just lose friendship. People go through mental illness. People go through health issues. A lot of the things we absorb from the environment around us, and a lot of the things we can unpack some of the layers and let it go, yet we can't even look at ourselves and say, loving how to love yourself, how to nurture the self. Because if the self, this is also a saying about health and well-being, if the self is well, no matter how hardship you go through, You can get up and you can do whatever. So I've seen in a lot of my workplaces, a lot of us, like, I come from Fiji and all that, and we tend to sit back and being polite and don't want to say. But inside ourselves, we always wanted to say, I think I know what you were talking. But and this is the fear. Fear is like an open space. I can't describe fear to anyone, but I'm saying, for example, myself, fear is like a vacuum that absorbs me, all my thoughts and everything. But I never feed myself with all this positive self-talk. So I'm going to talk about some of the strategies I've seen some of my friends use, and they said share it with me. And they said this has helped them, but I've also used some of the strategies to help myself to feel well inside. So it's every time I say all this negative self-criticism about me, I change how I see it. I say to myself, and sometimes it's silence, but I learn to start verbalizing it, because I know that verbalizing it help myself to get rid or eliminate some of the negative inner critique. So I would say to myself, you love who you are. You are loving. You can do it. There are things in our lives, situations that you have no control of. That's fine. Look at yourself. If you love yourself, you can love others more. So I wanted to just bring all these strategies. Also, things like praying. If it helps you, praying in your home, meditation, self-meditation, going for long walks, things that really help you to boost your self-esteem. We all live in a fast-paced environment, and how do we thrive? How do we make our lives better when we can't even help us, the self, help to feel better and to feel nurtured and to feel love? Because if you are to stop looking at outside to get affirmations. You yourself can do it. And to all my audience out there, I know this is hard for me to get up every Tuesday morning to come and share some of the stories with you, but I wanted to let you know that it will get better. And if it happens, and I'm not alone, and you're not alone, there's a lot of loving people out there. There's lots of experts. We all experts in our own areas of life, in families, in groups, in the workplace, in all areas of our life. So it's this show is not perfect at the moment. There is no perfection, right? But it helps me and you get better if you want to commit yourself to build your self-confidence. And self-confidence is everything. Even if you don't have to speak in the public, but you can help your inner self-confidence to become who you are. And also I would just retract and talk about why integrative conversations is developed or is created. It is created because I've always doubted myself that I can do whatever my heart's desire. And yet, with the support, because I'm not alone doing it alone, with the support of my women out there, and with the support of my families, and with the support of all the supportive males out there, we need to acknowledge all of us, and we need to acknowledge each and every one, that the journey in life can be difficult, right? That building self-confidence is a hard process. It's a difficult process. And yet we can cheer ourselves and say, it's going to be okay. We can lift ourselves up and say, it's going to be okay. So integrative conversations is all about diversity, diversity of the self, diversity of culture, diversity of everything we bring into this daily life. We go through um I'm sorry, I think I just saw my son going past. He shouldn't be, but that's fine. We and I've forgotten what I needed to say. Um uh and yet we we always want to think that everything we do in life has to be perfect. Everybody has different standards. Yet when it comes to the self, we're always are the worst negative self-critique, because everything is around people. We want to be accepted by other people. Why can't we accept ourselves as who we are? Um, I would like to thank you all, because I think um, I'm see this is how it's happening. My brain is doing all this, all this negative self-talk, but I would like to say thank you so much for watching me. And I would like to also say that in the next couple of shows, I would be bringing in special guests, ordinary people out there who would like to come in and be part of the integrative conversations. Whatever your areas of expertise is, I welcome you all to come in and share and help each other build better lives, enhance our communities out there with kindness and gratitude. And thank you everyone for watching me. And I will see you next Tuesday morning. However, if there's any changes to the show, I would definitely let you know. Thank you so much for watching.